We've been talking a lot on the show about the left and youth and why a good chunk of the left seems to be going full commie right now. Full commie. Our next guest took a while to get into politics. I think he waited until he was 11 to start his first conservative publication called the Truth Gazette. He now has he has 2 books out now. He has a brand new book, which he's going to tell you about here shortly. He is now the ripe age of 20 years old. Brilyn Hollyhand, welcome on to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560 The Answer with your host today, Mike Coolidge.
Well, good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me. Happy Friday.
Yes, happy Friday to you too. I've seen you on the TV a couple of times, and you are on your second book now. First, tell our listeners about your first book and why you wrote it, and then we'll get into what inspired you to write your second one.
Sure. So I guess I kind of got bored in high school. And my senior year, I decided I wanted to do a little bit more than just be a talking head on TV and wanted to write kind of an instruction manual to inspire the next generation. And when I got involved in politics, as you could probably imagine, in the 4th grade, there were a lot of people that talked down to you and said, well, there's no room for the next generation of politics. And so I was inspired by that famous Reagan quote from years ago where he said, freedom's one generation away from extinction. And I wrote a book about that. It was called One Generation Away, just kind of inspiring young people. Hey, you do have a place here. Our founding fathers were young people. The Declaration of Independence, average signing age was 30. There are young people that founded this country, so young people should still be involved in this country.
That quote is so crucial to remember. I mean, and it's said so often, unfortunately, that people take it for granted, but it really is true. If you don't pay attention, the next generation can destroy this entire country. And you see people as we speak who are not much older than you, Brilyn, in New York City and elsewhere, and heck, here in the city of Chicago, who are not just intrigued by this idea of socialism, but have already thrown their lot in with the communists and saying, yeah, we want to get rid of the Senate. We want to get rid of even the presidency of the United States and just have the whole country run by Congress, a direct democracy kind of thing. This whole United States of America experiment, it's over, it's done with, let's trash it. That is exactly what Reagan was talking about when he said we're one generation away of losing the republic.
No, he was spot on then, and he predicted it. That was all the way back in 1967 when he was being sworn in to be California's governor. He just made that switch from being the TV actor to politician, and somehow he so accurately predicted exactly what was going to happen. And the reason it's true is because we are that one generation. It's not a fear-mongering statement. It's a true statement. I mean, what's in front of us isn't socialism. They get giddy when we call it socialism. That's a lot lesser evil than what they're really doing. It's like putting lipstick on a pig. The choice in front of us is between Christian nationalism and secular globalism, because they want us to choose to replace government with God in our life. They want us to fully put our hand out and expect everything from the government. So anything that takes attention away from government, worship, is dangerous. They've told us that faith is dangerous, that big families are dangerous. Somehow patriotism is dangerous. And all of these things have been sold with the promise of free, buses and getting rid of the rich. And I was just in New York City last week. They've got a little problem. Mom Donnie up there did tax the rich. And as a result of it, all of the billionaires that were paying the tax dollars to fund the city have fled town. Now they can't pick up their trash. They don't have, some of those workers to keep the city clean because all the money was run away.
Yeah. Like Margaret Thatcher said, the problem with socialism is eventually you run out of people's money, other people's money. But that is literally what is happening in New York. It happened in our state, Illinois. A lot of the job providers and wealthy people in the city of Chicago decided to pull up their stakes and move out of state. And with them, they took millions, in some cases, billions of dollars in charity giving, in jobs, in industries. And this is something that people, and no offense, but people in their 20s and early 30s even, who have no experience in life, have decided that's the way to go. Just keep taxing people and redistributing wealth to those who haven't done anything yet. I want you to talk a little bit about your your life as a young conservative, and also bringing up a terrible topic, which is the death of Charlie Kirk. You wrote your first book before Charlie Kirk was assassinated, but I know that you were a follower of his and an acolyte of Charlie Kirk. And talk a little bit about your interactions with him before he was assassinated and what his assassination meant to you, and also the larger movement here on the right among youth.
Yeah, it was one of the worst days of my life. Hopefully the worst thing I ever see. I was in my first semester of college, living on my own for the first time. I think I was a few weeks in the class, and I was walking out of an English class. I just talked to Charlie that morning, and I got a text from a mutual friend of ours and was like, start praying. Charlie's on the way to the hospital. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, Charlie's speaking in Utah right now. I just talked to him. And then obviously, unfortunately saw the video, and the whole world got flipped upside down very quickly. And my very easy, laid back first semester of college turned into, going and debating on campuses, because the coward that assassinated my friend wanted to silence us. He wanted us to cower. He wanted us to mourn. He wanted us to, be quiet and just ride away. And we weren't going to do that. But listen, Charlie was more than just, somebody I was able to look up to. He became one of my closest friends in a business full of vipers, as you know, in a business full of people that are always out to get you and knock you down a few pegs on the ladder. He was one that, brought me up with him. And that fourth grade podcast you mentioned I started at 11 years old, he was the first guest on that podcast.
Really?
And he's been with me the whole time. And so I couldn't book anybody. As you know, it's kind of hard to book guests in the fourth grade. You don't have a lot of credibility. And so I remember emailing our local mayor and our local city council, and nobody would come on. And Charlie was coming to debate at a campus near me. And I remember DMing him, and I was like, hey, sir, can I just have 10 minutes of your time? And he responded with, you can call me Charlie, and you can have 30 minutes. And I thought that would be a one-time thing. I thought, we'd do the interview. I had the time of my life, and I'd never hear from him again. And the next day I got a text, and he was like, hey, I really enjoyed that. We should film more stuff together. And that started a 10-year friendship. So it's definitely not just going to end because some coward tried to pull the trigger.
The title of your book, Make America Talk Again, is connected in a way to Charlie Kirk, isn't it?
It definitely is. So I really feel that Charlie's life could have been spared, that President Trump wouldn't have, had that assassination attempt in that field in Butler. The temperature came down in the country on both sides of the aisle if we just started talking to each other. So the problem is my generation, I'm 20, we were raised in a culture where politics and faith are taboo. So you don't talk about politics or faith at the dinner table. You don't talk about politics or faith in the classroom or in your Sunday school room. You don't have any practice talking about politics or faith. So the only examples that our generation sees are the most extreme things on Hollywood, on the news, on social media, where both sides are screaming at each other. So we think the first thing you do when you and I disagree on something is to scream at each other, to have an assassination, to rant online. It's not to look at each other and have civil discourse. And I really do think that coward, if he put down that gun, got off that rooftop, got in line and debated Charlie would still have 2 babies to wake up this morning and have a lot of life ahead of him. And that's what he wanted to do. Charlie knew the risk of debating. He knew that he would still be alive right now if he sat in the comfort of a podcast studio and just talked from behind a microphone all day. He wanted to go out there. He wanted to debate, because that's where people can actually have their minds change. And so right after the assassination, of course, my team thought we were crazy. Security was freaking out that we were going to go to 10 campuses, and all 10 campuses we went to, we had insane amounts of security threats. Every single time there was more than enough security threats to cancel the event. And we're just not going to do that. We're not going to stop debating and sharing truth, because as the title says, we have to make America talk again.
I hate to disagree with you, or even burst your optimistic bubble, and I don't want to. I hope you're right, and I know that intention of talking with people is absolutely ideal and is awesome, and you should continue this mission. I would only just caution you to continue to be vigilant with your security and everything else, because there are, I hate to break it to you, a lot of people out there who it's like talking to a doorknob. You're not going to get through to them, and they, come hell or high water, will try to, complete their violent mission. And that's where we need security. That's where we need, men with guns, making sure that these sort of people are not able to commit their acts. Heck, I just realized I wasn't even following it, but the White House Correspondents' Dinner Redux is happening tonight with President Trump in Washington, D.C. If listeners remember, the last time he attempted to do this a couple of weeks ago, his life was attempted to be assassinated again. And he said, we're going to do this again, and they're doing it tonight. So let's pray that it is a safe and good thing. And I pray for you, Brilyn Hollyhand, that you don't ever have to face any sort of violence or threats on your life, even that other people have had to face. But I really, really applaud your mission. And I encourage listeners to check out Make America Talk Again, available wherever books are sold. Anything else you'd like to add, Brilyn Hollyhand? That's HOLLYHAND, before we say goodbye.
I just appreciate your time. I appreciate your audience, and we got to keep fighting the good fight and stay out there. So I just hope everybody has a wonderful, happy, safe weekend.
Make America Talk Again. Brilyn Hollyhand, thanks so much for coming on to AM 560, The Answer.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
We'll be right back.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. Don't miss In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr., now heard on Sunday mornings at 7:30. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His world